So today is the office hours webinar for teachers. I really like to think about it as open office hours because it is really designed to answer your questions. And then we're just here to pepper in a couple of new features. Love seeing all the people that are joining us. We have people from all over, from Ohio to Morocco and all the way across the United States. So it's really great to see everyone joining us from everywhere. So you can always follow us at CodeMonkeySTU on our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We also are on LinkedIn as well. And then we also have our CodeMonkey blog. So we recommend following us there for teacher tips and tricks. Sometimes we'll just share some different content, so we can dive into that later if you guys would like to check that out as well. And if you want to tweet at us at all, we're a small group here, but you can always tweet at us live during today's webinar. And if we aren't able to get with you during the webinar, we'll follow up directly after. All right, so now it's time to meet the team. So my name is Lena Saleh, and I'm the Professional Development and Sales Manager here at CodeMonkey. I've been with the company almost about 3 years now. And prior to that, I spent over 10 years in the classroom in a multitude of different roles. So I've been where you are, and now I'm on the opposite side, helping really make your, our goal is really make your lives a little bit easier. Now let my colleague introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I am the Director of Sales. I have been with CodeMonkey for about a year, working from Salt Lake City, Utah, and have been in EdTech for just over 6 years now. So I will be here to assist Lena with answering questions on chat and on Q&A. So please send those over as they come up.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Molly. So today, please feel free to chat with us along the side. And then if you have any questions, you can also pop that into the Q&A box as well. Something that we don't get to, while I'm going over some of the features, then we'll make sure we answer those right at the end. I may stop and also just quickly answer them if it fits where we are. And if we don't answer your questions immediately during today's webinar, we'll let you know that we'll follow up with you via email, but we'll follow up with you directly following this. And then after you finish today's webinar, there will be a survey that will pop up. And once you take the survey, a professional development certificate will be emailed to you for an hour of professional development credit. So if you guys are ready, let's get ready to write code, catch bananas, and save the world. All right, so what will we be actually covering in today's webinar session? We are going to go over classrooms and the student access, adding co-teachers, limiting student progress, the lessons feature, and just some of those things that are really beneficial for both in-person and distance learning. Gradebook and proficiency report, some of our newer features, and then we're going to have some time for Q&A. We also took Q&A questions from your registration as well, just making sure that we are answering your burning desired questions. All right, so now let's go ahead and we are going to show you how to sign up as a teacher from the get-go. So I'm just going to pause my screen really quick and pull up my hundreds of windows, as you guys know how that goes. All right, and always when you are doing Zoom, nothing ever pulls up exactly how you would like it to go. So, all right, so I am just going to go ahead and sign up here as a teacher, and just pulling the right window up here. Okay. All right. So the first thing I want to show you guys is how to log in using either signing up for an account or logging in with your Google account. So I personally like to use a single sign-on account. I find that if you sync it that way, it just makes it a little bit easier. Also, who has time to remember more passwords? So the first thing you'll do is you'll click on sign up. I already have an existing account, but I'll just show you that way. You can either sign up as a student, a teacher, or a parent. In this case, that is how your students would sign up. And then as a teacher, you would sign up right here. So and then once you do, it will bring you to the option where you can sign in with using an email, your full name, password, or you can sign up with a single sign-on option. So if you have Clever, ClassLink, you can sign up doing it that way. I recommend, however your students are logging in, then you would log in the same way as they do, basically. If you're using any functionalities of Google at all, Google Classroom, any of that, you would want to sign in using Google, or else you can't use the features of Google Classroom, which we're going to get into here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to log in using my single sign-on account here. And then you're just going to go ahead and you're going to put your email address and your password in, and just making sure that you accept the authentication from Google. Interesting. I didn't think that's how that was going to go, but anyway, so then once you do, then you'll be in to the account. Let me just do a new share here. And once you do, it'll populate you here into the classroom. So we're going to get into the classroom features. So this is how you sign in. Just really briefly, the My Classrooms page is where all of your classroom information is held. And so that's just going to be everything that how you access any of your student data and any of that information there. Under the courses tab, I'm just going to mention this part because it's going to be fun to see this side on the back end. On the courses side is where all of the courses that are available to you, you'll see that. As a student, they'll only see the available courses that have been assigned. And at the bottom, all of the courses that they're not utilizing are all going to be underneath and unavailable for them. What has been newly added to CodeMonkey here are these banners across the top that talk about what type of language each of the courses are, and then what level the courses are. So that's just something for you to keep in mind. And I'm going to show you our new feature after that. And then we'll go over some of these other features here at the end, just based kind of on your questions. So in the classroom, this is what we call the classrooms page. To create a classroom, there's 3 ways that you can create a classroom. You can click on Create Classroom here, and you can either create a new classroom, and then you just want to make sure that you select the appropriate subscription. This is important when you have an active subscription, just making sure that you've connected it to the correct one. Or you can import from Google. And what you'll do is you'll click Connect with Google Classroom. And then once you do so, and make sure you hit all of the all that and making sure that you allow the Google Classroom, then you'll actually have the ability to basically what it will do is straight import your students. So that's important for you to have that when it's synced together, then you can have all the functionalities and it will speak between Google and itself. So if I allow this to go through, then you'll see that I now have the ability to import this one. I don't have any imported classrooms. So let me share another screen with you and I'll show you that. So you're able to pull that up. Like I mentioned, I have so many tabs here, so just give me 1 second. Okay. So once you do that, you'll see you have your teachers and your students here, and then you'll actually just be able to work simultaneously together with one another. And then that classroom data will just be imported there. And then when you want to do the lessons feature, which I'll show you, it'll populate there. Another way that you can do it is you can just, when you create your classroom, you can add students more manually. So I'll kind of show you that as well. So that's how you create the classrooms. So now that I've created a classroom, which you can see here, I'll just click on one of the classrooms that I've created. This one actually will have students populated inside of it. So I create the classroom, either importing it from Google or just manually creating a classroom. When I go directly here to the classroom, I'll click on the students tab here. If you've synced with Google, the students will just be straight rostered in here. If you haven't, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. If you have younger students and they're not using any single sign-on, you can click on this classroom login URL. If you are synced with Google and Google Classroom, this will not pull up for you. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then the students will just click on their username and be able to easily import or be able to easily add their password, and it's just a straight link. Or they can go into login at the CodeMonkey regular homepage there. You can also print login URL cards. Obviously, in our new remote learning environments of the world, this doesn't necessarily work as well as you would like it to, but it does have a straight direct URL on here, and it does tell their username and their password. So you could break that up, take a screenshot, it's a little bit extra work for you on that side of things, but if you're in person, it obviously works very, very great. So that is how you would add students. Now at the bottom here, so let me just remove one of my co-teachers here. You'll see that you can add a co-teacher. So on this one specifically, I'm actually not able to add a co-teacher because I had both full, but you would add a co-teacher here. If you're connected with the Google Classroom, it will sync the co-teacher there. So if you are importing with Google Classroom, you need to make sure with whoever you're sharing your subscription with that you have added them as a co-teacher on your Google Classroom so that you're able to import and roster with them. So that is how you would do that side of things for adding students. And so Molly will actually add that easy link for you there in the chat box. So students who are joining from home or any of that, we do have, how would they actually join the classrooms themselves? So here you can see we have a classroom code. So the students can join signing up using their username or their password, and then they would just enter in this classroom code. So something that I want to show you is that in our Help Center, I click on the 3 lines on the right-hand side. In the Help Center, we just recently added the student login guide. So this is really important. Oh, I'm on a Google Classroom still. Okay, good catch, you guys. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. Well, good to know. My apologies about that. Okay, so I guess you guys didn't see any of that part with the students. So let me let me go back because that's embarrassing part of that. Okay, so here I am in the student list here. Thanks, Susan. Yeah. So here I am in the student list, and I'll go back and cover whatever it is that I might have missed at the beginning, but I'm just in the classroom. So how I got here is the My Classrooms page. I'm not sure exactly where I left off or didn't, but here's the classrooms page. Each one of these, you can create a classroom by either importing the classroom or manually creating it. The class code is also located here as well, just for that instance. You can click on, so I created my classroom. I'm going to click into my classroom, and I'll just quick go over this part because I feel like it's important. When I get here, I will go to the students tab. So I'm in my specific classroom. So that's just something to keep in mind, is that I'm in the specific classroom that I want. And then I'm going to show you how you can navigate that. But here I click on the students tab at the top, and if you've imported with Google, it will just already be here manually. You won't be able to change passwords or anything like that. And if you want to archive, or maybe a student leaves your class, you'll just have a button at the top here that will say sync with the Google Classroom. And the login URL, I'll just show that since you didn't see that. I clicked on the login URL, and here it shows all of the student lists that I've created. I've created this student list here in my student account by using a bulk import. And so down here, you can add students 3 ways, either creating a single account, doing multiple accounts, which is how I did this because this is a teacher classroom, a teacher training classroom, or you can share the class code. And if you share that, then you're able to see it much larger. New students, you can click on these tabs, and these will actually take you to the student guides themselves. So if you're imported with Google Classroom, you won't have this feature. If you need to add the students manually, this is where you'll see it. And then what I was saying is down here at the bottom, I have a co-teacher. If my classroom is synced with Google Classroom, it will show you just to invite the teacher. They must be on your Google Classroom to be synced with the classroom here. So that part is an important feature there. Or you can just add people independently. And what a co-teacher does is basically they share the classroom with you. So they see all of the classroom data of just the specific classroom. They can assign courses, see student progress, and all of the functionalities of being a teacher on the classroom, but just for that specific classroom. So it's good sometimes special ed teachers, or maybe you have another teacher that you want to share your classroom with. And that's also the ways that we share our subscriptions. So that is some of the functionalities, and then the login cards, which I was mentioning here. It does print out as student individual login cards, and it has a direct URL, a username, and a password. So not so much, does it work so well in our new virtual world, but that is there. So that is how you would add students to that classroom. So brand new, just released this week, my most favorite, most needed update that we have here is the classroom. So before, every time you wanted to access each and every single classroom, you would have to go out to the My Classrooms page, click into the classroom. Now you can easily navigate from this nice little drop-down tab, and I can easily navigate between my classes. I find this to be a really needed functionality, and it's really great that I don't have to do extra clicking in that way. So here I am. So the student list, that's how you add students. And I just wanted to note that part. And then on the courses page, so I'm just going to briefly go over this course page here. So on the course page, now the tiling, these banners at the top match exactly what is on our courses themselves. So it has the languaging, it has the skill level, and then it'll tell you the specific course. When you assign it to the class, it'll say assigned. Here it will tell you what grade levels it's great for, what devices it works best on. And my most favorite part is when you click on read more, it'll also tell you the coding concepts that are covered within the course, and the specific lesson plans are actually attached right here for you as well. So if you don't want to go back to the teacher resources, you have it all right here, kind of in a nifty little square, everything that you need. And the same is true for our coding adventure course. We have the standards here, which I know this is true. I just caught this today. It's tell you exactly what functionalities and what will be covered in the course itself, lesson plans, and exactly to the standards. So if you're wanting to know what standards are associated, these are basic standards, more general standards, not specific state standards. Are the Common Core standards for math and language arts, or ELA. And then we do have the CSTA standards and the national curriculum standards for our international standards as well. So that's a really great thing that just also got released. So we're very, very excited about that. Okay, so now, since I'm unable to get into my Google Classroom the way that I wanted to, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to go into our gradebook tab, and then I'm going to show you some features and functionalities of our progress page. So in our gradebook, as students are working through the course, their grades are populating here for you, so it's automatically graded. You can export it as a CSV file if you'd like and import it. If you have assigned Google Classroom in the lessons tab, which we're going to go to, you're able to edit the grade. It won't automatically report this grade to the Google Classroom, something that we are working on, but Google's a little bit tricky on their backside of things. But that's there. And then also here we have this proficiency tab. And in the proficiency tab, we have this new proficiency table, and it's kind of hidden. As you can see here, it says by course and it says by proficiency, but this is basically all of the coding concepts that are covered throughout all of the courses within CodeMonkey's curriculum. And so every single one of these is a different coding concept. And basically, as the students get more familiarized with each and every single concept, it's going to be reporting back to them. The more that they practice a skill, the more advanced they will be. So if they only do one course, you're not going to see that they're going to be advanced in that topic. It's more about extra practice and really getting them. So if they worked, let's say they worked with variables in Coding Adventure, they worked with variables in Beaver Achiever, and they worked with variables in the game design courses, then they will have mastered that concept. So it's just the more exposure that they have to those concepts, the more you'll see this chart begin to fill out. And then I'll just quick mention about the showroom here, just really quickly here. So in the showroom is where students' games and challenges will be populated for you. So once they publish it to the classroom, they'll show up here. Something I like to note is when you disable the Discover feature, so Discover is a worldwide publishing platform. It is heavily vetted, making sure no student information is shared. There's no inappropriate things laced inside of there. But basically when you disable the Discover for your classroom, the students don't have access to the Discover. They won't actually see it there at all. So that's just something that I like to note. I think it's important until you introduce the concept that my own personal opinion is that they don't have exposure to that right away. Okay. So I've showed you the functionalities of those, and now I want to go into the progress page. So the progress page, I like to always say, is a teacher's best friend. And why do I say the progress page is a teacher's best friend? Well, all of the solutions are located in 2 places, but this one here is where everything is contained, like the holy grail I find of everything. It's broken up into by coding concepts for each and every single course. Along the top in green is the teacher solutions for everything, so you're not hunting. And every single star within the gradebook or within the progress page actually contains a student solution. So you can sort this by student progress, and you can do a data dive and notice a data trend. So if we look here specifically at challenge 15 or challenge 16, excuse me, we can see there's a lot of blue stars. A 3-star is the shortest, most concise solution that a student could have done. So that's kind of the goal. A 2-star means there was an extra step, and a 1-star is a struggle bus. So they really didn't understand the concept, but were able to pass the challenge. When you click on any one of these student solutions, it will tell you how many times they attempted it. And like I said, you can pull it up in a real life animation. It also pulls up anonymously, so really good for, you know, debugging a challenge altogether or some whole group instruction. Maybe you put it up in a Jamboard and the students solve it in the best way that they can after you've done some like small reteaching as well. But not only that, you can put this up, a lot of teachers will put this up in their classroom and show the students progressing through the challenges, obviously up to you. But the biggest feature of this page, especially for synchronous and asynchronous type of learning, is that you can actually limit student progress. So what that means is that maybe I don't want my students to have access to anything. I'm starting my lesson. I can put limit progress to 0. They won't have access to any of the content at all until I'm ready for them. So typically I like to lock this down so I don't have students progressing beyond where I am. So it just kind of gives you a little bit more control there. The super hints here is only available for Coding Adventure. Basically, the more a student fails a challenge, then Gordo will pop up with an extra hint. It will guide them to the answer, but doesn't give them the full answer. This is really good for remote style learning. I also think that if a student has failed a challenge that many times, that they probably need the right extra reinforcement. So I personally like to turn it on. That's just my own preference. I agree that limiting the students is amazing because it just keeps everyone together and you don't have kids that are all over the place as far as that goes. So that's kind of the functionalities of behind the scene. And then I'm going to show you one more thing here, which is our lessons page. So the lessons page is only available for Coding Adventure, depending on where we go with this, but Coding Adventure right now is the only course that is available for lesson mode, but I do find this to be important. It's really good for either using it in its full functionality, keeping kids with you, or being able to do some differentiation. So I'll kind of talk about all 3 of those. So here the lessons are, so they are set up in the same structure as our regular lessons. Our lessons are always an intro, which is a unplugged activity. The playtime is a dive into the platform itself, and a debrief could be a walkthrough. It could be a reflectionary period, anything like that. What's nice about this is that I know that in lesson 8, just by looking at this, these are the challenges that the students will be working on. And here's some other challenges that might be usually in a walkthrough. It's something that might be a newer concept that they haven't worked on. I also have exclusively the lesson plan for that specific lesson right here. And if you have this synced with Google Classroom, and I apologize that I wasn't able to pull that up. For some reason, I'm using my associate's account. And so she needed to approve me again for that. So anyway, but so if I were in a Google Classroom itself, I would actually, instead of beginning the lesson, it would say assign the lesson, and the students would see this on their side of it would say assigned lesson 8, and it would show the challenges which they need to work on. And so you can go in and manually grade it there. But for all the rest of them, when you begin the lesson, this is my favorite part about it, is that the screens of every single student, it says that we are now in the introduction stage. Every single student will see a lock on their screen. So they're actually not able to do anything until you're ready to unlock them. So this is just good for going over any unplugged activities, any intros, maybe doing that small group teachable lesson on lesson 15, challenge 15 that the students were struggling. So it's kind of nice to kind of keep everyone together and not have the ability for them to mess around while you're talking. And then what is also really, really nice about this is, let's say I have students that they're not achieving at the same level as everybody else. When I'm in this specific lesson and I'm going over this specific concept, when I assign the challenges to these students, so now the students' screens will be unlocked and they will be in playtime, and what they will see is only, when they go into Coding Adventure, only the challenges that are associated with this lesson. So that can keep everybody all in the same place. Once I end playtime, the students will go back to their place where they were before. So this is really, really good for introducing new concepts, especially variables or some of the other concepts that are covered in Coding Adventure that might be a little bit more challenging and that students can't keep up with. That's just a way that you can kind of keep everyone together and kind of do some differentiation. Once you, like I mentioned, end playtime, then the students' screens go back to locked. And then you can do your challenge walkthroughs or anything like that. The reference cards, those are going to talk about all of the code blocks that are at the bottom. So, you know, the blocks of code they're not drag and drop, but they do contain text. So this will tell each and every single student what those blocks are and what they mean. And then the character review card. This is something that I always like to mention. The character review card will tell the students when they're meeting a character, but it's also very, very important for when the students do the challenge builder, because as students work through Coding Adventure, these characters and objects open up as they go through. And it's just nice for them to have a reminder, like, this is how you move the turtle. So we tell them that we have to have an object tag. This is how we move the turtle. This is what we do when we move the beaver. So it's just kind of some good reminders for students as well. Banana Tails, Game Builder, they have the reference card all built in for them. So, but for our younger students, we like to have them have access to that. So then once I end the lesson, now you can see it is green, and it means that I've already done that lesson. Any of the lessons that I have yet to do are going to be in white. So it's just good to kind of keeps you on track, especially when you're teaching hundreds of sections of that. Okay, so we've talked about the gradebook and the proficiency tab, and then we've talked about all parts of the behind the scenes. I'm just going to briefly mention this, and then we'll get into total Q&A here with all of you in just a minute. I'm going to click on the teacher resources. So I clicked on the teacher resources on the left-hand side of the screen. Here we do have a certification course. If you didn't get tired of me today, this is of course covering the concepts within the first part of Coding Adventure. They're short. They'll just walk you through the concepts that are there, especially if you're not super familiar. It might be a nice way to just kind of do a refresher for you. Our webinars, any webinars that we host, you found our webinars today, but our webinars are also hosted there from previously, and you can also find them on our YouTube channel as well. All of the lesson plans for all of our courses are located here. How-to guides, let's say you forgot how to do something, you can find the how-to guides, locate our help center. You can find the help center here or down here in the left-hand side of the screen. And there's a complete classroom management guide. I like to note this. Basically anything that you ever wanted to know is going to live inside of this document. It's also on our help center, but it has everything: pedagogical resources, grades by course, proficiency in computer science topics, how to limit, how to view challenge solutions, just really anything that you want to know is in that document. It's a very large document, but it contains a lot of information. We do have getting started video guides, so this will walk you through basically everything that I'm doing right now. We do have some short video tutorials, adding a teacher, assigning courses, all of that good stuff. Hour of code notes, those really aren't going to be so necessary for you. And then classroom resources. All the student certificates are located here, and the solutions are also located here. So the student solutions are located on the teacher resource page and in the progress tab. So just know you have that availability. My creations is where all of your creations live, nobody else's but yours. And then the discover, like I mentioned, are worldwide discovery platform. And then in the Help Center, I'm just going to go there briefly. In the Help Center here, you'll see a Getting Started guide for code for CodeMonkey. It has everything, a text guide, how to create classrooms, how to add co-teachers. There's some different advanced steps there if you're not sure. And then we also have these student login guides, which is what I was showing. My screen was not showing you what I was showing. So the student login guides are on the Help Center. They're at the bottom section. And here it will talk about how to sign up with, how to share. Basically, it's a guide for your students on how they can join CodeMonkey using a student walkthrough. We have that in this web version, or we have it as a PDF that you can share with your students as well. So if they're not sure how to join using the class code or any of that, if you get stuck ever on that, you can always reach out to us and we're happy to help with that. And so that's all that we have for that today. So we did the lesson features, the gradebook and the proficiency, the Q&A. Our webinars page, we talked about that. And then now I'm going to answer a couple of questions that we had previously. And then I'll show you, I'll get into your questions. So what is the best way to get K-3 students started? So it's either having them importing a Google Classroom typically is going to be the easiest way for them to kind of sign in as well. But you can just share a class code or anything in that manner would be the quickest way. And then if you're not sure about where students should get started, I'll just come back to the slide here. We do have this located on the course page, but this is basically where every single student should begin. So kindergarten would begin with CodeMonkey Junior. I typically like to have first and second grade start with CodeMonkey Junior. I love the lesson plans. They have some really great unplugged activities that you can actually change to make virtually. And I just like to get the students excited about coding as well. Okay, so the next question is, how do I know which standards CodeMonkey are aligned to? So I showed you that in the course page there specifically. You can find the course and then you can click on the standards and it'll take you right there directly. If you need something more customized, then just reach out to whoever your regional sales director is and they'll help you with that as well. Susan, good question. Nothing yet for Canada, but I'll definitely put that as a request down to our product team regarding those standards. I know that it's important for you guys as well. What does it mean to upgrade? So this is a really good question. So oftentimes when you first sign up for your account, you'll see that this will say that is either expired or you have a teacher trial. So see here, I have this super teacher account. So what I will do is I will upgrade it. And then when I hit continue, I just need to make sure that I'm selecting the correct subscription. And with the correct subscription, then I select it and then I just upgrade. And that means that now my students in the classroom are going to be attached to the correct subscription. So that's just an important thing to know, or if it's expired. So I just clicked on the upgrade and I just selected it. We do have usage, I'll just note here, there is a usage report here, and then this data to the export data to a CSV. It's very robust. It contains a lot of student information. It shows you everything that basically is in the progress page, but in a CSV file. So if you ever need that as well. And then I forgot to mention this, but if I'm in a classroom, I'm just going to click on a classroom. And I'll go to the students tab here. Let's say this student class has ended and I want to move them. I can click on over here. I can click on this and I can select, I can either archive all of the students in the classroom. Archive only means that the students move to a non-active position. All of their student data will still live there. Or I can move them to a classroom. The only way that you can delete a student ever is if a student has never used CodeMonkey. And so that only means that they can, that means that they can't be, they never took up your subscription seat. If you archive them, it does not reopen a seat. The only way that archive works is if you have a flexible type of subscription. And that's the only way that you'll be able to reopen those seats. So the question about if a student left from school, how can you get the space back? Unfortunately, if you have the subscription that's a per student subscription, they occupy that seat for the lifetime of the account. Susan had a question, can students be moved to a different school? So if that is the case, so we have a lot of students that move around, just let us know and we can help with that as well, because we want the students to contain their same coding language and things like that. So Susan, I would say get probably with Zach, and he can help you with that. Zach and Talia, they should be able to help you with that part of it. But we do have students that move around pretty regularly within districts, which is always interesting. Okay, so that's that question. And then how do I get students to collaborate? So I just created a Jamboard, and I took a challenge that I know students struggle with, which is the first time this is an assessment challenge for Coding Adventure. And you can just put the challenges here and then have the students each code it using different colors, or show theirs each working together collaboratively. Sometimes you can put them in a breakout room or something like that. I had a trial period, but never had the opportunity to use it. Can I get the trial again? Antoinette, if you just want to send a message to support@codemonkey.com, we can help work through that as well. Okay, let's see here. This is a good question. Edward asked this question, is there the ability to limit progress for CodeMonkey Junior? Unfortunately, at this time, we do not have the ability for students to occupy, basically for you to be able to limit students' progress. But it is something that we have heard from teachers that is a need. How can I delete students from Google Classroom? Can I get the space back? So if you have your classroom synced with Google Classroom, what you'll need to do is you need to go to your Google Classroom, or not go to your Google Classroom. Up here, it will say it's been synced with Google Classroom, and you just need to make sure you resync it. As far as the space, Barat, I think it's going to be best that you reach out to your rep, whoever you've been working with, and they can work through with you on those details, because I'm not very familiar with your subscription itself. Antoinette, I did see your question here about doing a small demonstration on how to teach CodeMonkey. There is a webinar that I did a little while ago, and it is getting started with Coding Adventure. And I did like a mini type of lesson of teaching. I would say that would be a really good resource for how to teach with CodeMonkey. I definitely would recommend that as well. Okay, and I see a couple of questions here. I already created student accounts with their emails. Is it too late to sync with the Google Classroom? Patty, if they've already logged in, I would say just reach out to whoever your rep is, or to support@codemonkey.com, and we can look into that. Sometimes if the student accounts are already Google related, like they're already Google authenticated, there is a way that we can help you with that if you would like. So just, I would say just reach out to support@codemonkey.com, and we can help take care of that for you. Will the recording be available after this? They're always available. They always live on our website. So let me just go there so you guys can see it. They live on the webinars page. On the CodeMonkey webinars page. So when you go to CodeMonkey, you'll see there's a webinars page here. There's also some student webinars that I personally did with students over COVID-19, and we did some for Hour of Code. But here's some specific ones that will walk you through the office hours that we've done, anytime you want to register, and then all of ours that are available for you to be able to view are right here as well too. So, but we will definitely send out this recording afterwards as well. Okay, sounds like we've had some really, really amazing questions, and we just want you to know how much we appreciate you and the time that you spend for both students and just the time that you take every single day to put into your students and teaching with CodeMonkey. It's so greatly appreciated. please check out our blog and our help center. Sometimes there's also some coding concepts that are there, some things that should hopefully be helpful. And if at any time you're struggling with something, you're not sure what to do, you're stuck, you can either use the chat feature on there that goes to our support as well, or you can just email us at support@codemonkey.com, support@codemonkey.com, and we will get back with you as soon as we can and as soon as we have an answer for you. Okay, so it sounds like there are no more questions. So once again, we just want to thank you guys so much for joining us for today's webinar session. We're ending a little bit early, so that's exciting as well. Any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. This recording will be available. Remember, at the end of this recording, you will get a survey.